Hello, botany students. My name is Brett. I am one of the lab technicians at PCC Cascade, and I have been working on a special plant growth experiment for you. Here behind me, I have some bean plants, and we have two different varieties of bean seeds. We had a dwarf bean seed, or a bush bean, which when we plant it normally, it would look something like this. And we also had a pole bean, or string bean plant, or seeds. And when planted, they would normally grow something like this. So we planted 2 pots of each of those types of seeds, and we have treated them a little bit differently. So for one of those pots, they got sprayed with deionized water. And I think we started measuring and spraying them on July 13th. It's now July 25th. So some of these, the control groups, we just sprayed with deionized water, and the experimental groups we sprayed with gibberellic acid. And we just sprayed the apical meristems, spritzed them a little bit. Of course, our pole beans are falling over. I'm going to just lean it up there for now. We spritzed them with those apical meristems and provided plenty of water. They've been outside in the sun, and they are growing too well for their own good. So as we have been growing them, and like right before I treat on the 13th and the 16th and the 20th, I've been measuring them with this meter stick here. It's calibrated in millimeters and also inches, but I've been using the millimeter side. And so I've been going through and measuring the height of the plants like this, up to either the apical meristem or the highest point. So these control dwarf beans didn't get very tall, so I'm generally going to the highest point. And actually, you can see that right here. I'll probably go to this apical meristem. Okay. So the key thing is what happened. Well, these are both the dwarf beans, believe it or not. These are the dwarf beans that were the control, and these are the dwarf beans that were treated with gibberellic acid. And as you can see, those have gotten quite tall. They look essentially the same as the tall beans, the pole beans, that were treated with water. And then with the tall beans, we have the control here, and the gibberellic acid treated here. And these have also gotten quite tall. Exactly how tall, I'm not going to go through all the measurements right here, right now. But I will record these today, and I think this is going to be their final measurements. They're just getting too tall and they're falling over in the wind. So this is going to be the last data I collect. I'm going to put that data either in a spreadsheet or in the description below this video. So you'll have that data to refer to, but you'll need to do the number crunching, calculating the averages and growth rates if your instructor wants you to do that. Okay, so those are the beans. And just for reference, this is, again, that meter stick. And some of the tall beans with gibberellic acid have grown more than a meter. The control tall beans are maybe getting close to a meter, but not quite exceeding that. And the dwarf beans with the gibberellic acid were about the same. The control dwarf beans are maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 millimeters. So, okay. Now this isn't the only experiment I've been doing. I'm going to put the beans away and try not to topple them as I do that. Let's see. We have done a very similar experiment with corn. So we have two varieties of corn. We have dwarf corn that has kind of this stunted curly leaf appearance. And we have just regular old tall corn, not dwarf. And you can see in comparison, the tall is got a much longer, more slender leaf to it. And again, we have treated these, we've planted 2 pots of each type of seed, and we treated those with gibberellic acid. The dwarf corn, the control that we just sprayed with water, looks like that. The dwarf corn that was treated with gibberellic acid looks like that. So obviously quite a big difference. And again, when we go to measure these, we'll find that the dwarf corn is quite a bit taller. And again, I'll not go through all the measurements now, but I will give you that data in one form or another. And then the tall corn, we have the control tall corn and the tall corn that we treated with gibberellic acid. And these don't show as much of a difference, but you can see that the gibberellic acid plants did grow a little bit taller. So that is the overall results for our plant growth and plant hormone experiments, or the Giberellin experiments at least. I'll take the measurements and hope you enjoy the rest of your term.